Hey everybody, and welcome back to our Let's Play of 80 Days with Nerdstalgic. So when last we left Fog and Passapartout, we were in Canton. We had just arrived on the back of basically a big bird automaton, and unfortunately on the ride, the vengeful automaton Munisa, I think was his name. I don't know how to pronounce it. Was mad because we didn't save the guy that we were supposed to save in Pang Sao Pass. So he caused our mount to drop all of our luggage. So we have no luggage now, or at least that's what I'm expecting. But we did make a friend on the flight over, and it does look like we have a pretty clear route to at least to Hong Kong from here. So now where we're going to go from Hong Kong, I don't know. I'm hoping we can go from Hong Kong to Honolulu, but we'll have to basically go wherever the routes are and wherever the money dictates we can go. Canton's 13 factories had once been the only Chinese port which traded with foreigners. The city had grown opium rich and impossibly lush until the Second Opium War and the subsequent opening up of other treaty ports to foreign trade. Canton was still lovely, but it was the faded beauty of decline, like a once great manse fallen into disrepair. We were lodged in the barbarian settlements, as the locals termed them, on the sandbank island of Shamian, bordered by the Pearl River and connected to the mainland by two bridges. I spoke with the French-Vietnamese troops guarding the French bridge, who chattered to each other in a mix of Vietnamese, Cantonese, and French. It does me good to hear my mother tongue, I announced with a smile. Does it? They seemed singularly unimpressed by my appeal to them as countrymen. Then again, Frenchmen were probably 10 a penny in Canton. I looked across the canal to the mainland. Why is the bridge guarded? So that there is no trouble, one of them replied promptly. It seemed an odd state of affairs that traders and merchantmen would need an island apart from the locals, and imported guards besides. It was a stark reminder that foreign trade in China was performed at the tip of a sword. It was foolish for the Chinese to resist the future. Steam trains and telegraph lines and airships were pulling us all ever closer. China could not hope to escape the embrace of modernity. The fading, bristling city of Canton was but a sign of the times. All right, so I guess we need to explore so we can find some routes out of here. Okay, so as we expected, Canton to Hong Kong. I struck up a few conversations here and there, hunting for options for how we might proceed. Well, I don't think we have anything. Yeah, we lost all of our luggage here, so we do still have money, which is good. Valuable in Hong Kong. Okay, so we can sell that. Seasickness pills might be useful. Let's take the salve, the seasickness pills, and the linen trousers. We're going to buy them out simply because we don't have anything. And then, can we depart now? Yes, we can. Go, 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 go. Steam bicycle. Even though it was only 80 miles from Canton to Hong Kong, the passage, we were told, would still take all day. We boarded a wobbly steam bicycle driven by a boy of tiny, wiry proportions. Doesn't look like a boy. He's got a mustache. Maybe that's me. I don't know. We cheered and yelled as he kicked the bicycle into its highest gear. Well, I probably would too. Is there something the matter? Let's talk about money. We're quite comfortable, I must say. You've been most cautious so far. What about the zoetrope? Zoetrope is a child's toy. I see no mystery in its function. Okay, it improved his well-being, though. What about his health? Good gracious, this is rather more strenuous than I anticipated. Yeah, well, it's true. So far we only have one route out of Hong Kong. The bicycle ride was fast enough. What a ride. Bouncing around on an uncomfortable saddle, listening to our driver's endless chatter as the scenery rolled blankly past. We arrived a few hours later in the port of Hong Kong, and the boy stuck out his hand for a tip. I gave him 20 pounds and sent him on his way, and he nodded with thanks. Then he waggled his finger and offered a single phrase of advice. No opium, he said. No, no, no. Which, I'm not going to take any opium anyways. I thanked him for his guidance, and he giggled. Then he jumped on his bike and rocketed away. Your funds have gone down a little. Relations with Fog have improved. Hopefully we can find something not going to the south, going more towards the east. Let's go to the market. We can sell that. Good. What do we got here? Dominoes, caliber rifle. Let's buy the safety harness. I think we take the rifle. Let's just buy everything. Good to see we're well armed with that rifle. Alright, so I guess we're going to stay at the hotel. I was perusing a market stall in Hong Kong when I was greeted by the familiar quivering mustache of Monsieur Fix. "What are you doing here, of all places, monsieur?" I exclaimed. He offered me a drink, given that I had a few hours to spare, I could not in good conscience refuse. He led me into a dingy basement where a sour-faced Chinese woman presided over several tables, and a few couches. Oh no, this is an opium den. And a few couches with men and women, mostly Europeans, in various states of lolling intoxication. And he said the exact same thing I said. "This is an opium den." I exclaimed uneasily. The gin is good," he told me, and ordered us a bottle to prove his claim. It was thin and sharp, but not wholly distasteful. We chatted amiably for a time, though I noted he kept my glass full and not his own. "Listen," he said abruptly, "I'm a police detective sent from the London office." "Bah!" I retorted with an air of raillery, but he presented me with his commission, which seemed in all respects genuine and correct. "You have been duped," he resumed. "Mr. Fogg's wager is a pretext. Last September, a robbery of £55,000 was committed at the Bank of England by a person whose description answers exactly to that of Mr. Phileas Fogg." He is what? £55,000, did you say?" I slurred, feeling the effects of the bottle of gin. "That surely cannot be." "You know scarcely anything of your master," Fix ground on. "You went into his service the day he departed on this so-called wager, carrying little but a large quantity of banknotes." "He is too gallant to be a thief," I protested. Fix strokes his mustache. "Thieves are frequently gallant," he assured me, "charismatic even." "You cannot accuse Monsieur Fogg of charisma," I replied. Fix shrugged. "I have not met him. I only know that the Scotland Yard have sent me out here to capture this Fogg." The detective hissed a breath which fluttered the tips of his oiled mustache. "I could arrest you as his accomplice. "I've done nothing wrong," I protested. "Then you must help me," he replied. Fix pressed a pipe into my hand, and I unthinkingly lifted it to my mouth before dashing it away in horror. "This is an opium pipe," I accused, standing up so abruptly that my chair tipped over. "How dare you, sir?" Fix chuckled hollowly. "I dare because I must at all costs separate you and your master, as you call him. Then you will fail." Having delivered my dramatic promise, I stalked out of the opium den without a backward glance. The fresh air cleared my senses a little, and I returned with shaky steps to my lodgings, despite the gin sloshing its way through my body. I felt as sober as a judge, and twice as grim. Well, I guess we have to explore again, huh? Okay, so Hong Kong. This route doesn't look like it's going to be where we're... Oh, Beijing, though. I was loath to leave Monsieur Fogg for any length of time, having so narrowly escaped the clutches of that blackguard Fix. We explored the city from the comfort of a mechanical sedan chair, but my terrible experience dimmed the colors and tarnished the beauty of the streets. I found myself anxious to leave. Alright, well, what can we do? Well, we can go to Beijing. When does that leave? Tomorrow at 5. Okay, but we could probably negotiate it. We could go to Yokohama. Departs tomorrow at 9. Can't be negotiated. Not going to cost us any health. We can take 2 suitcases. We have anything... Okay, this is valuable in Beijing, but also in Yokohama. I think we go to Yokohama. I don't know. We might be able to get like really nice passage in Beijing. I'll go to the bank. Monsieur Fogg looked quite resolved. "We must once again make a demand upon the bank, I fear," he declared. I regarded the bank as we entered. "As big as any London branch, they would no doubt serve us well. You would like to take funds? We were told it may take a few days." We could get this £1,000, I'm pretty sure, and still make a departure tomorrow. And I think that's what we're gonna do. This leaves tomorrow. Oh, we can't. That if we want to catch the thing to Yokohama, we can't. But we could go to Beijing. I think that's what we do. We're going to take the money and we're going to go to Beijing. before going to bed, I attended to Monsieur Fogg. Our funds will be ready to collect when the bank opens. Tapping the clock will skip time forward. Yeah, I know, Fogg. I've been around a little while. So the bank is going to take a few hours, but it won't take us past that 5 p.m. departure time. Okay, now we're going to depart. Yeah, we're going to the Beijing Express. It's a bearable option. Might be a little bit out of the way, but I'm kind of in hopes that since it's such a big city, maybe we can find some really nice transportation. The train left Hong Kong via tunnel. We rode through an endless dark, and I began to fear I might lose track of our luggage. It was as though we were plowing down into the earth itself. To distract myself, I passed the time tending to my master's state, keeping him comfortable, and he perked up rapidly. I'm in roaring health. Let's tend to Fogg again. We're going to keep him healthy. Got to keep him healthy. We rode in darkness for an hour or so, and then we burst up into the daylight in the countryside. We were crossing mainland China. Wow, it's going pretty fast. Let's converse. Greetings, madame. Good day, monsieur. Are you well? Let's talk about Beijing. They say Empress Cixi prefers her automatons to be decorative. Okay. What about North Korea? I've heard that some buyers will pay well for cowboy boots from Pyongyang. Salt Lake City? I've heard that you can buy revolvers, Salt Lake City. Okay, let's play some dominoes. Let's talk about Beijing again. Beijing Opera is said to be Union Marble. Cool. Can we go to Port Moresby? Not possible. What about this? Oh, God. I'm trying to find new routes here. The train rolled on all night and all day, and we were visited only once by a guard who briefly glanced at our tickets and then inquired with unseemly interest as to our true purpose. I talked to him. He was a curious soul, but a genuine, I think. What can I tell you that you might want to know, he remarked. Perhaps that you could buy amethysts in Yokohama that you can sell for profit in Hong Kong. Well, it's kind of going backwards. With that, he slipped away. Hours passed in dusty silence before we reached Beijing. I don't think we want to go backwards. Well, we could sell the rifle. Let's get the specific timetable and stats ahead. We have the complete set of the American wardrobe. Nice. Okay, so we've found some routes from Manila to, is this to Honolulu? Is it to Honolulu? Uh-oh. It is. Where's this going? Holy shit, that goes all the way to San Fran. Well, well. Oh, more routes. Okay, Pyongyang to Yokohama. Okay, so we need to get to Yokohama. I thought we could get there from Beijing. We might have to go back to no opium. Might have to go back down to Hong Kong, I guess. Let's explore. New routes: Urga to Beijing to Vladivostok. There were no airships sailing across the Beijing sky, nor any evidence of electrification. Though the Chinese did not shun all technology, palanquins were drawn by intricately worked and gilded iron lions, as often as human servants, and I saw animated Medlin jade dragons that snapped and glared at passers-by, perhaps to discourage thieving. Furthermore, I was lucky enough to catch a performance of the famed Suishi opera, the cast consisting entirely of hydraulic elegances, automata, by another name. I was told it was an ancient tradition begun over 1,000 years ago by Wang Gun, an engineer who had made Suishi wine pourers and musicians, dancing girls, and acrobats for his emperor's court. True? Perhaps so, but the opera itself, my friends, it was a thing of great beauty. I forgot that the performers were fashioned from brass and iron, that their eyes were polished onyx, that their lips were gently glazed porcelain. I saw only the purity of their movements. We were the guests of a Manchu court official who clearly believed us to be spies or troublemakers of some nature, possibly sensing my propensity to adventure on a regrettably international scale. As we departed the auditorium, I slipped away from our host and went backstage. Ah, my friends, I assure you, only a fraction of the theatrical dramatics take place on stage. My progress was quickly barred by a stage manager wearing a carved jade hairpin and an irate expression. What are you doing here? I wish to congratulate the automatons on their performance, I said smoothly. The stage manager looked politely bemused. They are rehearsing now, but come with me. She took me through a narrow corridor to the dressing rooms where flesh and blood actors were sitting across from the automata, miming expressions and gestures. The automatons watched with onyx eyes and mimicked them exactly. Up close, I could see that the smoothness of their porcelain faces was an illusion. The masks were assembled out of 1,000 interlocking segments which moved according to the mechanisms within. How long does it take to train a suishi? I asked. More than a lifetime, the actor replied, adjusting the curl of the automaton's fingers just so. The performers you saw tonight are 100 years old. They will have eternity to practice their craft. Ah, my friends, let me assure you their beauty was more than mere practice. I made my way back to my lodgings to meet up with Monsieur Fogg. A pair of opium addicts were slumped in an alley, faces blankly blissful despite the emaciation of their limbs. I saw the poison and rot at the heart of Beijing and wondered how long even such a grand structure could endure it. So we've seen both the highs and lows of Beijing. So we could go to Vladivostok, which also would take us to Yokohama. Leaves tomorrow at 1. Okay. I think that's probably what we'll do. Stay in the hotel. Might have some time to do something. We made ourselves comfortable for the night, and let's run a few errands for the hotelier. Earning £80 in fees and tips. So we got some money. Well, we're not going to stay another day, so let's go ahead and go to Vladivostok. So we're going to lose 3 health, not too bad. We boarded the Jia King, a Chinese junk with billowing patterned sails and a red and gold phoenix painted upon its prow, bound for Vladivostok. The ship is heavily armed, I remarked to Captain Zhao, gesturing towards the cast iron carronades upon the deck. Do you expect trouble? Pirates, he agreed, and then added, or war. It was not a surprising response. It had been 10 years since the last Opium War, but European powers and Russia still scratched at China's borders. Lieutenant Fogg. He could not wish for a superior valet. That's us. We're the best. I spent the first day aboard in conversation, hoping to find options for our next journey, and I picked up from a nervous Javanese ragamuffin that the traders who sailed from Honolulu to Panama City were always open to healthy bribery. As the night drew on, incredible stars filled the sky. It was the most peaceful, beautiful moment. So we found another route, but I don't think we're going to be wanting to go to Panama City. Greetings, Captain. Passepartout. Why, my good man? What can you tell me about Vladivostok? Here, the commercial port has been relocated. It is now a military town. What about Vladivostok to Honolulu? We heard that the quickest way to Honolulu from here is through Yokohama. Okay, well, alright. Let's talk about Honolulu then. We heard that you can pick up revolvers in Honolulu, extremely valuable in New Orleans. Well, that's useful. Might pick up some guns, I guess. I saw Captain Zhao reading a Chinese newspaper at breakfast and asked if he would tell me the news. He pressed his lips together. It is out of date. The Xin Pao was printed in Shanghai, and I only pick it up when it happened to dock there. What's the most interesting story? The paper is campaigning against the employment of young women in opium bars in the French concession. Pointed at the article in question, as they are often asked to perform immoral services. They should campaign against the opium bars altogether, I huffed. Captain Zhao looked delicately surprised. I am surprised to hear a foreigner say such a thing. I spent a stimulating afternoon in discussion with Captain Zhao as the wind filled our fully battened sails and sped us on our way to Vladivostok. So overall, not a bad trip. Got, what, 26 days left? Jia King had to dart between the busy junks filling the harbor to find a space to dock. I found Vladivostok to be quite intimidatingly martial, especially after the elegance and beauty of Beijing. Still, there was nothing for it. I hurried after my master into the city. No departures today, so we should explore. I agree. Let's take a look at the market. Oil paints, valuable in Batavia, San Pedro, and Hong Kong. We're not going back there. Knitted gloves. I don't think we're going to be going anywhere cold. Traveling Coke, railway cap. We might be doing some railway travel in the United States, I figure. Is there anything we can sell here? I don't think so. Let's rearrange a little bit, and I want to get the traveling cloak. Alright, let's explore. So Vladivostok to Pyongyang, okay. The military port of Vladivostok looked out over the calm black water of the Sea of Japan and was populated largely by sailors of the Far East Fleet and a mix of Chinese, Korean, and Russian residents. I was curious about the foreign residents and managed to chance upon Du Feng, a talkative Chinese merchant who spoke a remarkable array of languages, including French. "We are not foreigners," he exclaimed. "Good sir, my family has lived in," wow, that's a mouthful, "Hashinwai for many generations." "Hashin what?" I stammered, and as he snorted with laughter. "Oh, forget it." I crossed my arms grumpily. "Most foreigners have this trouble," he said neutrally, and I was rather abashed. Hashinwai means sea cucumber cliffs. It is the Chinese name for this city of Vladivostok, though once it was called Yangmingcheng, City of Eternal Light. The earlier name is more evocative, I opined, and Feng agreed. "Yes, my friend, much is lost with time." The hour was getting late by the time I made it back to my hotel, but my adventure here was far from over. An imposing Imperial Army officer accosted me in reception and subjected me to a thorough search. I gave no objection, and he studiously went through our cases and my pockets, although of course he found nothing seditious. "Vladivostok is a closed port," he declared. "You will be held while a decision is taken in your case." I pleaded with him, but I may as well have begged the thunder not to roll. Holy crap, the time that just passed. And so it was that we came to spend 4 nights in a Russian military jail, not an experience I would recommend, even for the hardiest of travelers. When we were finally released, it was without much discussion. We were pointed to the docks and told to leave, and quickly. Well, that sucks. Alright. So we need to go to Yokohama. Depart at 3 p.m. today. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. This place. We avoided the Russian military ships and instead took passage on a Korean vessel crewed by a mix of Koreans, Mongolians, and Siberians who regarded Monsieur Fogg with grave curiosity. I considered charging £1 for a look at him. I might have made £20. They continued to goggle at my master in mild disbelief till he retreated below deck with the slightest of furrows etching his brow. Okay, greetings, mademoiselle. Good day, Frenchman. What can you tell me about Yokohama? It's a traveling circus. What can you tell me about Yokohama to Honolulu? Wish I knew, but you can pick up buffalo hides in Honolulu, extremely valuable in Omaha. So we know 2 things now. We know that we can get guns in Honolulu, buffalo hides. It just depends on which route we want to take. What can you tell me about Honolulu? Wax cylinders with music in Honolulu that you can sell in Atlanta. Interesting. Let's play some dominoes. Tell me about Yokohama. You ask too much of me. What about San Pedro? I don't know, but some buyers will pay for Stetson hats from San Pedro. Now tell me, I've learned to tie my own shoelaces. What? Excellent. You think I'm young and silly, I understand. Yeah, I kind of do. You heard that you can obtain hand-woven rugs in Kabul that will sell for a fortune in Chittagong. That's the other direction. Port Moresby. Oh no, I've forgotten. I'm so sorry. Well, I'm glad she learned how to tie her own shoes. Fantastic. For the first day aboard, we kept ourselves mostly to ourselves. The crew seemed busy with their tasks, and I was happy to have fewer of those myself. Monsieur Fogg was his usual impervious self, however, and made his calculations and read his newspaper. Meanwhile, the boat steamed on. Where is he getting the newspaper at? Where is this coming from? He's getting low on health. Game of dominoes, how enjoyable. I'm glad you like it. One of the cabin girls, Elena, spoke good English and was attached to us as a translator, though she created as much conversation as she explicated. Do you know my parents? I doubt it, since I only just met you, Elena nodded. My father was a Russian officer, maybe, I think, and Mama comes from a famous Cossack family. They're all soldiers. Your maman is a soldier, I blinked. She dressed as a boy and joined the Cossack host. Elena wrinkled her nose. My auntie and grandmama were soldiers too, Mama says, but I have to earn enough money for my own horse and armor before I can join. I blinked down at the little cabin girl, rather at a loss as to how I should respond. That's nice, I hazarded, and she nodded enthusiastically. Mama runs the boiler room, and all the sailors are frightened of her, she told me rather wistfully. One day I will be like her. Elena made a mock-fierce face, and I pretended to quake in terror until we both began laughing uproariously. I would like to meet her, I said, and Elena giggled with delight. I will ask, she replied. Better attend to fog again. Elena knocked on my door unreasonably early in the morning, eyes bright. Mama says she wants to meet you. She sees my arm. Will you come? Lead the way, mademoiselle. We descended into the bowels of the ship. I felt the heat and noise of the engine before I saw it. The rumbling whistle of the boilers, the shouts of men shoveling coal, the thumping of the pistons, and the groan of metal. A woman with muscular arms sheen with sweat and hair shorn to the ears presided over the activity with well-worn confidence. She glanced over at us and grunted. I bowed deeply, as I would to any lady. Unimpressed, she spat at my feet, while Elena chattered away in an unintelligible dialect. The formidable woman regarded her daughter with a certain detachment which masked deep adoration. The girl bloomed underneath her mama's merest glance. We took our leave soon after, and Elena smiled at me radiantly. Isn't she wonderful? She breathed, and I nodded enthusiastically, and Elena bestowed another bright smile upon me. Day 60, Monsieur Fogg murmured that night in his sleep, and we are not even yet halfway. I share your trepidation, Monsieur Fogg. I share your trepidation. Elena laughed as I hung over the ship's rail to get a better view of Yokohama as we neared the port. She gave me a hug goodbye, which surprised me, though her mother watched me with hard eyes throughout our exchange. We weighed anchor as the sun set. It lit the foreign flags in the harbor with bright fire as it dipped below the horizon. So we're now in Japan. The Stetson hat could earn us well here. Well, I say, let's sell it. Amethyst, plastic wallet, monkey wrench. Let's buy the monkey wrench. I suppose let's explore, see if we can find anything interesting. It's hard to believe that Yokohama had only relatively recently opened to foreigners. There was an entire foreigners district not far from the waterfront, where it was as common to hear Chinese or Russian as Japanese. There was a melding of cultures and clothing styles. Russians arrayed in their rich colors, hoop-skirted British ladies, lately of Bengal or Singapore. Americans who had adopted the coat-like haori over their shirts and trousers. I noticed a Japanese man watching the scene with a look of intense concentration and scribbling in a sketchbook. What are you doing? He jumped and left a smear of ink on the paper. He looked up, clearly irritated. Do you mind? He said, his accent an unholy mix of Dutch, French, and English. I am making a drawing for a woodcut. Skirts aren't that voluminous, I commented, and he sniffed in a front. Though, I admitted hastily, you have drawn them well. It is an artistic impression of the foreigners, he stressed. Well, it certainly is artistic, I allowed. The scene on the page was much more lively than the merchants haggling and their wives and children riding about in carriages. You are a very strange people, he pronounced after a brief silence. Everyone is strange, I replied thoughtfully, thinking of my travels. He shrugged, clearly unconvinced. He colored one of the woman's skirts lovingly, his hand on the page much gentler and kinder than his voice had been. Finally, he thrust the paper in my direction, assuring me that it was only a preliminary sketch. I accepted gracefully, charmed that he had chosen to bestow a gift upon a near stranger. I stored it carefully. It was a fine souvenir of Yokohama. The Yokohama sketch should fetch a good price in San Pedro. Well, we're not going that direction, hopefully. Alright, so we can go to San Francisco. It's going to cost us 4,000 pounds. Did you guys hear that? 4,000 pounds. But I think we got to take it. We got to take it. And we're going to have to get some money. Alright, so this video has ran on a little bit long. I would like to keep playing. I am intrigued. I definitely think we're not going to make it around the world in 80 days, but it's been very, very entertaining. So, if you're watching this video and you would be interested in seeing another Let's Play of this, feel free to give me a comment down below the video. And because I'm kind of waffling on it, like, I don't know if I want to do another Let's Play series of this, but if people are interested, I'm certainly open to the idea. It's fun, but I'm not sure that it makes for a really interesting Let's Play for you guys. I mean, so basically, I'm going to leave it up to you. If you guys want to see it, I'll do it. If you don't want to see it, I'll move on and do something else. So, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.